Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us and kicking off your Dreamforce 2023 journey with us. We are going to talk about optimizing license adoption and user management best practices. If somebody can't hear me, just let me know and I'll speak closer. Is that better? That's actually better.
I'm glad I know what we're talking about now. That's great.
Thank you. Optimizing license adoption and user management best practices. Slight different title than what you see on the screen, but it's definitely going to ring closer to you. For anybody who has been at any Salesforce presentation, this slide is very familiar. This is to tell you that we are going to have a sneak peek of what is the future for admin in the company info page. And so make your purchasing decision on the here and now and not based upon what we are going to talk about today. So my name is Lucy de Castric. I am a product manager here at Salesforce, and my area of expertise is licensing and provisioning. Today, I'm very happy because I have two pleasures. First one is, it's my first time speaking at Dreamforce. Pretty intimidating. Thank you for being here. And I am joined by one of our distinguished customers who is going to illustrate a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, and that is Melissa. Go, Melissa.
Hi, I'm Melissa Linenberger. This is my second time talking at Dreamforce, so according to Lucy, I'm the veteran. I have been an admin for 11 years. I'm currently at Ferguson Enterprises as a lead admin, and I have a small team there. We now have 3 orgs that we are adminning, so lots of fun, lots of growth there. Huge growth just in the past week because 2 of those just kicked off, so it's been a very busy time for us. I also will probably see you around in the Community Cove. I'm doing something on community and careers later today, and then we will show you later. We're also doing this session again later this week because we've had so many people sign up, which is great.
Yes. Thank you. All right, so without further ado, this is what we want to answer today. We want to give you, I'm not going to read it, this is our job to be done. We want to give you the opportunity to discover maybe some of the tools that already Salesforce offers to you to optimize your license adoption, but also your user management. So let's dig right in. So we have 2 distinguished parts, optimizing license adoption, where we're going to give you some golden nuggets, and then the second part, which is going to be around user management best practices, which is real-life example of what you can apply directly after this session. Optimizing license adoption. So there's a lot of jargon when it comes to licenses. We have different type of licenses. We have different type of utilization as well. But there is one single page where you need to start your journey, and that is the company information page. I mean, by a show of hand, who doesn't know that page here? Okay.
A couple people.
All right. A few people, yay. All right, so how do you get there? You go into setup, you go into your search bar, and you type company information page. The page will pop right in and is divided in 2 distinctive parts. Your first best practice here is making sure that that first part is completely accurate. Make sure that you have the right address, currency, and so on and so forth. The most important thing on that top part is your org ID. Your org ID is what you will need, not to memorize, but you'll need it handy for any conversation you have with anybody at Salesforce. Whether it's your customer support, your account executive, anybody that from Salesforce need to know who you are. This is how we know what you're entitled, what's your org looking like, and how we can troubleshoot you. So don't memorize, just know where to find it. Then the second part is around licenses. That's the bulk of your license adoption. You have 4 different types of licenses. The 2 first ones are the most common one. The user licenses, you have a user, you have a seat, you assigned it, and voila, it just consumed the seat and you're good to go. The second one is what we are pushing more and more. That's the permission set licenses. It's the same thing. It gives a feature, it gives permission set, but it's gated. So you have somebody in reporting that can just see a report rather than editing or deleting or creating, for example. So permission set licenses is usually what we are moving towards. The third one is feature licenses. So feature licenses, almost everybody in this room has feature licenses. They're a little bit more cumbersome when it comes to setting them up. You need to open them, you need to check boxes. And if you have any emotional tie with them, please start having your phone with you, because I have a survey and a QR code towards the end of this presentation, and we are looking into migrating them into permission set licenses and retiring them as well. And then finally, you have your usage-based entitlement. This is where you have all your consumption-based product, your storage, your API calls. All right, so finally, around license utilization, the page is the central hub where you can find anything around how many licenses are provisioned to you for the product that you have bought, how many you have used, how many are remaining, what's your renewal, what's your expiration date. Everything is in that one central location. So before I hand it over to Melissa, I just want to highlight one thing. And as we are heading to the holiday season, maybe the analogy will make sense. So all your users are one single cookie cutter shape. Yes, right? No, actually it's not. So actually you have people in sales that need to do reporting. You have people in marketing that needs to do lead management because they're going to do campaigns. So people move left and right. Your user move back and down, leave the company. You need to be able to adapt. And in order to do that, profiles are a little bit constraining. So instead of profile, think about moving, and I guess that's a broken record because it has been said a couple of times at Dreamforce now, it's time to switch. Not yet, it's not retiring tomorrow, you still have your profiles for a little bit, but think about moving to permission sets. We have a lot of tooling supporting you in your journey. We have a lot of profile to permission set translator. We have permission set, and Melissa is going to be able to show you some tools on how to handle it, see the logins of your user, being able to manage them a lot more closely. So think about making the switch. All right, that's my first part.
And there are some tools that can help you make that transition from profiles to permission sets as well. Thank you. Okay, so we're kind of going to get into the meat of this. What's a permission set? If you're an experienced admin, you probably know about this a lot already, but I wanted to just show a brief thing here about this. So a permission set is kind of like a task. So you have users who have all kinds of different tasks. You're going to have those different tasks shared across lots of different users, different departments, that kind of thing. And so that's your basic block, right? Your basic building block. And so this is just an example of some of the ones we have: CRM user, chatbot, core sales, sales operations, that type of thing. These are just their basic things. And then the next part is, that's the same thing, just some more. Oh, and you can see here, I've got listed, these are the users that are going to be using these. And sometimes we even put on there like a JIRA story if we want to go back and see more information on why we chose to use this. Okay, and so permission set group is when you add all of those permission sets, those blocks, and you build them together and you have this group. And so unlike profiles, you can have lots of different permission set groups attached to the users. Mostly, we will have things like sales all get these permission sets, sales operations get these, our service chat people get this group, that type of thing. And so what we can do is we can say, okay, sales gets this group, but we also want them to have Einstein activity capture. So we're going to give them that as well. But not everyone on the sales is going to need that. So we have different groups for different departments, that type of thing. And you can use these across all users. You can use the different permission sets in different permission set groups and just build them how you need them. Okay, so muting is a great way to say, I want all of these users to have these permission set groups, assign them, 5 different groups, but then you might have something that, well, this group doesn't really need this one permission or permission set in that group. So we can mute it rather than cloning the whole permission set group. And it's a great way to keep reusing those groups without having to build it all out again. Custom permissions, I'm not going to go into this too much, but I wanted to include it so that you know to look it up if you need to. These are great for if you want to use it in a validation rule, if there's something in App Builder you want to assign to certain people, but you don't need it for everyone. And so I just want to put that on there as an option as well. And then you've got expiring permission set groups. So expiring, you can give, for example, if you have someone going on a long-term leave, like maternity leave, paternity leave, something like that, going on extended leave, then you might have someone step in and do their job for a while. And so this is a great time to be able to use permission set groups that later expire It takes that off of your docket to go back and fix later. You can assign it, say this person has it for the next 6 weeks. It expires. You don't have to go back and take it off. Okay, so this is where I'm really excited. This probably looks familiar if you've used permission sets and permissions and looked up things to find out who has what in the past. But this has been built out even more. It's recently been updated, and I'm looking forward to some more updates that you'll hear about later at Dreamforce. The thing I use this the most, this assistant, is when someone makes a change that I'm not expecting. Okay, I'm the lead admin. I should know everything that's going on, right? It doesn't happen that way. We recently had someone go in and make some change. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I said, who did that? Why did they do that? And how could they do it? And so I could go in here, and I can analyze by the permission set or by the specific permission, and I can say, who had the access to do this? And I was able to find here that there was a group that had access they shouldn't have had. And so we were able to go back and find out exactly who had it and take that permission set out of their permission set group or that permission set away from that specific person. And so that's a very useful tool. And there's a lot that you can do here, but that's the main thing I use for it. Okay, I said I was excited about that. This is the big exciting part. User access policies. This is in beta. A year ago when I talked here with Cheryl Feldman, this wasn't even here yet. She was talking about the beta coming up and that type of thing. This is where you can go in, and instead of building out flows for your user access, you can actually go in and say, I'm going to assign these things based on this title or based on this department, based on this role, whatever it might be. And then later, I want to revoke the same things because these people are no longer going to need it because they're inactive. So you can go in and you can take off those licenses. You can take off the permission set groups that they no longer use, and then keep it nice and tidy and clean. And so that's, to start using that, you go to user management settings, enable it, and then go into user access policies because it'll show up at that point. I believe that this will actually be automatic as of the next release. Okay, here's an example of some I just built out recently, so I could show it here, but also because we're building these out for ourselves right now as well. I really thought I was going to have to build out huge flows. So this is wonderful. You can see on here, I've got several different parts of my company. I've got a 4,000 user org that I'm doing this in, and I have different groups that are going to need different permissions, right? That's why we have permission sets. That's why we have permission set groups. So I'm going to build it out for each of those groups that I want to assign. And so I've got build.com users for inbound sales are going to have one policy. I've got users for Ferguson inbound for showrooms. They're going to have a different policy. And so I can do that based on what they actually need. And then you go in, this one shows active, but you actually start it in a different status and you build it out. There's several different statuses. You can test it, you design it. You actually don't activate it until you're ready. And then you can see that it's based on trigger type. So just like a trigger flow, you can say it's on create and update, or it's only on create, or that type of thing. Oh, and let me actually go back real quick. Oh, it won't let me. Okay, so I also have a naming convention. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I have new user and deactivate user, or I could be doing update user, and I put the user type on there as well because I want to be able to go in and I want to be able to identify those very quickly and easily and know which ones I need to update. And so that's important. Okay, so this is the next screen where it actually shows you how you're building it out. And I didn't want to actually do the demo because it's a little bit difficult to do in 20 minutes. But this is an example. I've got one here for new users for Ferguson managers, new users Ferguson inbound, so that's the sales group, and then new build.com inbound. And so different ones for each one, as I was saying, and you can see that there are filters. I'm doing it based on the profile. I'm doing it based on the permission set group that might be assigned at first. And then I'm going through and granting certain things, granting permission set groups, public groups, licenses, all of that. And so this is a really good, robust tool, and I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm definitely going to the other user management sessions so I can learn more about this this week. This is very basic at the moment, and so I'm sure there's a lot that's going to be built out here soon. Another thing, too, is that you can do these based on your users in your system now, or you can have it do it for all new users that are put in later. So it can be an automated thing, or it can be a manual thing. Okay, this is a way that I set them up. I pulled up the user access policy, and I put it side by side with my permission set group, and I said, what am I actually wanting to, this is the best way to identify what are these users going to need, who are they, how am I going to know who they are so that I can trigger this correctly. And then I go in and I can say, on this one, we're revoking. I want to keep those licenses nice and tidy, and I don't want licenses used that aren't actually being used, right? So if I'm deactivating a user, I want to go in and revoke all of that. This is the easiest, fastest way to do this. This is something I've been doing manually for years. And so just putting them side by side like that is very helpful. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Melissa. I think and I hope that you all got some golden nuggets out of that and that you're going to be able to implement it as soon as you're out of this Dreamforce. I am going to bring it home with a little sneak peek on our roadmap for admins and the company info page, and then some action items. Remember to have your phone out. In a couple slides, I'll have that QR code up there on the slide, and I definitely want your feedback because we have a zillion things on our roadmap, obviously, but we want things that are going to be helpful to you. So the number one thing is keeping up with changes. Salesforce never, ever changes their product name and nomenclature. Haha, thank you. Yes, actually we do change it all the time, and it's usually in your favor. We are repackaging, we are giving you more features, but it's super hard to keep track because you bought product A and it used to give so many licenses, and now it's giving other stuff. So we are internally implementing, obviously, a naming convention, but also a customer-facing description, so you can keep track with it. Along with it, the second part here is creating that connective tissue between product and licenses. Today you have 5 Salesforce platform. You know that you have 5 Salesforce platform, but what you don't know is that 2 of them come from product A, 3 of them come from product B, and it's impossible for you to actually tie it back. So we are going to implement this, and this will help you a lot with that connective tissue and reporting capabilities to be able to track, and also knowing what kind of product you need to buy for the type of licenses you use over and over again. Then I talked about the company info page. We have a huge amount of monthly active user. However, this page is a little static. The data is great, but it's not very dynamic. We want to make sure that you can do reporting from that page. We want to make sure that you can set up threshold and subscribe and be alerted if you're about to get in the red zone in your seat consumption. So those are the kind of functionalities that we are looking into developing sooner rather than later. And then I talked earlier about those feature licenses. They are cumbersome. They're not very easy to work with. So make sure that, again, emotional tie, just tell me on that survey, and I'll be able to reach out to you and know more about that very deep connection. All right, some resources. We'll share the slides, so don't feel like you have to write all the links, but I have them. Melissa gave you a fantastic golden nugget, so as soon as you can, go into your setup and make sure you enable that user management setting. Get acquainted with permission set group. Remember, we are moving eventually off profile, so sooner than later, it's always easier to learn. I'm going to be a lot more active on the Salesforce admin blog, and I'm really looking for your feedback on what you want to learn about licensing and provisioning. Today, we just have something on license utilization, but I'm really looking towards you to give me other topics that ring close to your heart. And then finally, how many licenses have I used is a video that came out not that long ago, but you can watch it over and over again. It's around the company info page. And so whatever I presented, but in a very formal way. All right, this is the QR code. So make sure you scan it and can answer that very fast 10-minute max survey, aside if you really want to tell me your feedback. No time for question, obviously, but I'm going to be available right after this session, and Melissa will hang out as well. I'll be at the permission and security control booth in the Trailblazer this afternoon from 2 to 5. I'll be back tomorrow morning from 8 to 10:30. I'll be at True to the Core, and we have a repeat session, in case you want to hear it again, on Thursday at 2:30 p.m. You have my contact through the survey. I am really looking forward to hear you, help you, and be there for you as admin and as enabler of Salesforce products. So thank you again today.
Yep, thank you.
And
And
that's
we do have the survey for this session as well. Please fill out that survey so that we can get some feedback on what you found useful, what you would find useful next time, that type of thing. That should be on the next slide. And so we'll, okay, after the thank you, I guess. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yep. And we have the other QR code if you need it.
Thank you for watching. We would love to get your opinion on this content, so please leave us some feedback on the comments section below. If you did like this content, give that like button a tap. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the Salesforce Admin's YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about being a Salesforce admin in general, head on over to admin.salesforce.com. Thanks again.